Ladies and gentlemen, welcome into another live stream. Tuesday night. What time do I start? I normally start like 5 minutes after. 5 minutes after I go live. They haven't released the files yet. They were just voted on by the House of Representatives. Of course, they voted to release them. Now the Senate has to vote to release them, I believe, and then it goes to Trump. So we'll see what. And then they're saying stuff's going to be redacted anyways. I think it's a there's going to be a lot of people that really don't buy whatever they release because of the way it's been handled. Sammy, it's your birthday. Well, happy birthday if that's true. What do you think about Trump's comments on MTG? Um, I didn't. If he made comments today, I didn't see them. But the previous comments, I mean, obviously she's a detractor, and she's gonna do the America First stuff, and so I don't really. I mean, he's not too. I don't really. That's not the way I would handle it. But obviously, he's got his own thing, and he doesn't like when people go against him. So I think people like that, detractors, I wouldn't give them any airtime. I don't care. They're kind of irrelevant to me. If I was Trump, I would just be like, okay, that's fine. A lot of these people, they thrive off of attention. I'm sure she's going to use that to fundraise or whatever, like MTG. You know how they like galvanize themselves against Trump, and then he gives them the attention that they want. You heard since that Trump's asking the DOJ to investigate the Dems in relation to the files, that the files won't be released because they'll be a part of an active investigation. Oh my dude, I don't want to have to talk about the files for another 5 months. Imagine that's true, then they could just blame Trump and say Trump's delaying the release again. Johnson basically confirmed they're going to redact any potential names of elites, corrupt AF. I know you'd think that they're going to have to, like, if they want to save themselves, there's going to have to be somebody that goes down, you would imagine. But all these people are extremely rich and they're all connected, so the public is not going to accept everybody being redacted. It's going to be a terrible stain on the administration if that's what it is. But chances Tulum Ted beating Talmud Ted. Yeah, it's not going to happen. I don't think he should run. It's a waste of time. Scott Bessent interview. I didn't see it. I'll have to watch it right now. Or I'll look at some of the quotes and see if it's worth watching.
Ambassador Mike Waltz here with the amazing Queen of Rap, Nicki Minaj, and I just can't be more thankful to you for putting your spotlight on the persecution, the killing, the devastation that's going on with Christians in Nigeria. The president called it out. Nicki, you've called it out, and then we invited you here to the UN to learn more and to see what we can do to stop this genocide.
did, and I am, like I said before many times, I'm honored that you even thought that I would be worthy to be in this caliber of a place. Because, you know, I never thought I would go from rapping to being here, but I'm so happy and proud, and I'm happy that I can speak for Christians, and I will continue to speak for anyone that I feel needs my voice if they are being persecuted. And right now, I'm just wanting to let all of my Nigerian barbs, even if they live in the U.S., I want to let you guys know I love you, and thank you for your stories that made me understand more.
What an awkward alliance that is. But I don't know. I mean, I'm sure her fans probably think it's bad. Well, they're gonna say she's being used as a political prop by the administration.
We have an answer, do you think, from the Fed about another cut? Do you think that's where they're going?
I hope it's where they're going, because when you're in uncertain times, and after what this Schumer shutdown did to the economy, I would think that if you're not taking out an insurance cut here, or if you're flying blind, they say, well, we don't have data. Well, if you don't have data, then that's what insurance is for. So I would encourage them. They've gone into a cycle, so let's go 1, 2, 3, and we can see from there.
We'll continue to follow up. We have an answer, do you think, from the Fed about...
It's really, I think there's like a 70% chance they're going to cut again. So it's not 100. You know, the last two times it was like a 100% chance. Now maybe it's a little bit lower. Maybe it's a little bit lower on it.
You can go back to the non-inflationary growth. But look, we are working on this every day, and my prediction is that first quarter, second quarter, what we are going to see is we have brought the inflation down, it is curving down, and real income, the other side of that equation is real income growth, and we are going to see this from all this investment.
Would a $2,000 tariff dividend check going to people be inflationary?
Well, there are a lot of things that are going to happen next year.
Is that one of them?
And that could be one of them. And again, maybe we could persuade Americans to save that, because one of the things that's going to happen next year is the Trump accounts. Every child who was born from January 1st for the next 3 years is going to get a government account that goes into the stock market. So every American child born for the next 3 years, starting January 1st, is going to have that. They can take it out when they're 18. They're going to learn the power of compounding, and there's going to be a lot of financial literacy around that. And I think the reason that we saw kind of the disastrous election in New York is young people don't feel like they have a stake in the economy, so we want to give them a stake in the economy.
We know that the healthcare dividends are coming to an end at the end of December. There are efforts on Capitol Hill, all kinds of efforts. Are you in favor of a 6-month extension to try to get a plan between Congress and the White House? First.
College football needs to do a 14-16 team playoff max and stick with it. It devalues championships to have different paths to it every few years. Yeah, no, I hear what you're saying. I think it's bad. At some point, I think they are going to find hopefully a happy medium and stick to it. But yeah, if they keep changing it, it's kind of a joke, and it devalues the product, if anything. I mean, I don't know if it devalues the championships, but was he crying? Who's Scott Bessent? I don't think he was crying. Scott Jennings went with Trump. It looks like maybe Scott Jennings has a book.
Well, they want to give them another headline, which is that they've arraigned a Democratic member for taking a phone call from her constituent, Jeffrey Epstein, in the middle of a hearing. And of course, I don't think there's any rule here against taking phone calls in a hearing. Now, if you want to actually give her the chance to explain what happened, then we would take it to the ethics committee. I still don't see what the charge is. Where is the ethical transgression? Where is the legal transgression? Are you saying anybody on your side of the aisle who had a phone call with Jeffrey Epstein should be censured? Be careful your answer there, because there's a lot more that's about to come out, right? So you should think about what is the principle behind this rush to judgment. I want to close just with this thought, because I know there were a lot of people in the chamber who were here when this happened and a lot who weren't. Well, they want to give them another headline, which is that they've...
What are your thoughts about Texas maps getting thrown out by Trump judge today? That doesn't matter. That's being appealed, or it's going to go to a different judge. The map is gonna hold up. The redistricting is going to hold up in Texas, so it's really irrelevant. You know, that's like those lower judges shooting down things, and then it goes to higher courts, and so that map will be holding up.
Hey, I have a handy dandy chart. I was getting to the affordability piece of SNAP. Almost 40% increase under Joe Biden of what was spent in the people that entered the food stamp / SNAP program. That's 40%. Of course, they were working to buy the election. But what we have seen and what Doge and our amazing team at USDA, 186,000 dead people are receiving SNAP benefits. 500,000 people are getting paid twice. We've made hundreds of arrests. We have a lot more to do. But this was, I think, an unintended consequence of the Democrats shutting the government down for 43 days, is it shined this very bright light on one of their pet programs and now has given us a platform to completely deconstruct the program, make sure those vulnerable Americans who really need that benefit are going to get it. And for all the rest of the fraudsters and the people who are corrupt and taking advantage of it, we're going to protect the taxpayer too.
Dude like fell asleep on the left. Trump can't get rid of Powell. Congress has to get rid of Powell, and it would have to be done through it's not, you can't get rid of the chairman because you don't like the policy on whether or not they're going to cut rates. They're not going to be able to get rid of him. Yeah, here it is right now. They're going to appeal to Supreme Court.
Fox News Alert in Texas, where a federal court has blocked the state's brand new congressional map set to go into effect for the 2026 midterms. The ruling means that Texas needs to stick with the congressional maps that were passed in 2021. Judge Jeffrey Brown, a Trump appointee, says of the new maps, quote, "It was much more than just politics. Substantial evidence shows that Texas racially gerrymandered the 2025 map." More on
Racially gerrymandered. It's probably because the minorities vote Democrat all the time, and so it was done based on Republican Democrat voters.
When you love your job, when you love your country, and when you're in a position like we are, future king.
At the John Sick tip $5 through Super Chat. I think Newsom is promoting himself too early. Even the left will be sick of him by the primaries.
Yeah, I mean, there's the idea of peaked too early. I'll give you some perspective. Obviously, Newsom is going to be the favorite, I would imagine, going into the primaries, but it's about a 50-50. If you're the favorite going into the primaries, you got like a 50% chance of being the party's nomination. So, it's not a lock for Newsom. It's honestly, it's like a coin flip whether or not he gets it. And so, he might have peaked too early. That certainly is possible.
Highly respected crown prince, and in my case, president. You're thinking about your country. You're thinking about making America great again. We're thinking about keeping Saudi Arabia strong and vital, and in a pretty tough part of the world, tricky part, a lot of tricky people.
Mr. President.
But, he thinks about his country, and I think about my country. I don't want to sleep.
Mr. President.
And Trump doesn't give a fist pump. I grabbed that hand. I don't give a hell where that hand's been. I grabbed that hand. Remember Biden? He travels for 20 hours, gets out, and he gives a fist bump. No. When you get out of the plane and you got the future king and the man who's one of the most respected people in the world, you shake his hand. You don't give him a fist bump, right? We don't want to ask you about that, but I can't.
No, that is really poor etiquette. He is right on that with what Biden did. You shouldn't. That's not how you conduct yourself.
I can't imagine you were thrilled. You were like a little bit surprised. He's a fantastic guy. You don't do that. Yeah. Your hoax, and ABC's your company, your crappy company, is one of the perpetrators. And I'll tell you something. I think the license should be taken away from ABC because your news is so fake and it's so wrong. And we have a great commissioner, the chairman, who should look at that, because I think when you come in and when you're 97% negative to Trump and then Trump wins the election in a landslide, that means obviously your news is not credible, and you're not credible as a reporter. So I've answered your question. You should go and look at the Democrats who received money from Epstein, who spent their time. Larry Summers was with him all the time. That creep of the fund guy was with him all the time. What's his name? Who? Reid Hoffman. I don't know Reid Hoffman, but I know he spends a lot of money on the radical left. Reid Hoffman, in my opinion, should be under investigation. He's a sleazebag. And those are the people, but they don't get any press, they don't get any news, and you're not after the radical left because you're a radical left network. But I think the way you ask a question with the anger and the meanness is terrible. You ought to go back and learn how to be a reporter. No more questions from you.
I don't know what the question was. I think it was about Epstein. If I had something about Epstein, probably. He, doesn't want to take the Epstein questions. But it's enough with the Epstein questions. He's just going to answer it the same way. They're trying to antagonize him. And maybe he should handle a little bit better, but You know, they're trying to get like a reaction out of him, and so they probably like it because they get the clip.
Mr. President, why wait for Congress to release the Epstein files? Why not just do it now?
You know, it's not.
Yeah, but don't they? That's isn't that the crazy thing? Now they're trying to gaslight, and they're saying, "Well, you have the presidential authority." Well, I thought you guys said that Trump shouldn't do things unilaterally, but now you want it done unilaterally. Now you don't want Congress's advice or approval. But with the tariffs, we have to go to the Supreme Court, and the tariffs are going to be taken off because you can't put the tariffs on because it's too much power for the executive branch. But no, the Epstein stuff, Trump should just become the dictator and just do it himself without any approval of Congress. So see how they manipulate it based on the situation.
Not the question that I mind, it's your attitude. I think you are a terrible reporter. It's the way you ask these questions. You start off with a man who's highly respected, asking him a horrible, insubordinate, and just a terrible question. And you could even ask that same exact question nicely. You're all psyched up. Somebody psychs you over at ABC. They're going to psych it. You're a terrible person and a terrible reporter. As far as the Epstein files is, I have nothing to do with Jeffrey Epstein. I threw him out of my club many years ago because I thought he was a sick pervert. But I guess I turned out to be right. But you know who does have? Bill Clinton, Larry Summers, who ran Harvard, was with him every single night, every single weekend. They lived together. They went to his island many times. I never did. Andrew Weissman, I hear. All these guys were friends of his. You don't even talk about those people. You just keep going on the Epstein files. And what the Epstein is a Democrat hoax to try and get me not to be able to talk about the $21 trillion that I talked about today. It's a hoax. Now, I just got a little report, and I put it in my pocket, of all the money that he's given to Democrats. He gave me none, zero, no money to me. But he gave money to Democrats. And people are wise to your hoax. And ABC's, your company, your crappy company, is one of the perpetrators. And I'll tell you something.
So why not just sign it now?
I think the license should be taken away from ABC because your news is so fake and it's so wrong. And we have a great commissioner, the chairman, who should look at that because I think when you come in and when you're 97%.
Well, I mean, they do try and rile up Trump, and then they want the reaction, then they get angry at him. I mean, you know what his answer is going to be with the Epstein stuff. We have to rehash it for the 900th time. And they just want to rile him up, and then they want to play the victim. Like, Trump is against free speech and all this. But it's the same question how many times? Why are the polls so tight with Vivek unless they're fake? Well, number one, the poll that I think you're talking about, it's a Democratic pollster. Number two, they're a year away from the governorship race there. It's a year away from the election, so I don't really think the polls. Listen, I think Vivek is a tough candidate for Ohio. I really do. I think it's going to be hard for him. It's going to be a challenge. He might lose, honestly, but the polls at this point are, I mean, Amy Acton, she seems real not impressive from what I see. Because they keep playing things with her, and it's just not, she's not an impressive politician, I'll say that much. And Ramaswamy is smarter than her, but he does tend to criticize American workers. And so that becomes a problem. And he's trying to walk it back, and I mean, he does do a lot of events. He's doing all these events. He's been doing events for months in Ohio, just like the primary we saw in 2024, he did all those events before he dropped out. So he does work a lot on the campaign trail. But, yeah, I wouldn't read too much into polls a year away and a Democratic internal pollster. I wouldn't read too much into that.
Is it appropriate, Mr. President, for your family to be doing business in Saudi Arabia while you're president? Is that a conflict of interest? And Your Royal Highness, the U.S. intelligence concluded that you orchestrated the brutal murder of a journalist. 9/11 families are furious that you are here in the Oval Office. Why should Americans trust you? And the same to you, Mr. President.
Now, who are you with?
I'm with ABC News, sir.
You're with who?
ABC News, sir.
Fake news, ABC fake news, one of the worst in the business. But I'll answer your question. I have nothing to do with the family business. I have left, and when I've devoted 100% of my energy. What my family does is fine. They do business all over. They've done very little with Saudi Arabia, actually. I'm sure they could do a lot. And anything they've done has been very good. That's what we've done. We've built a tremendous business for a long time. I've been very successful. I decided to leave that success behind and make America very successful. And I've made America more successful by far than it ever was, and that it ever could have been, no matter who was president. There would be nobody bringing in $21 trillion, that I can tell you right now. As far as this gentleman is concerned, he's done a phenomenal job. You're mentioning somebody that was extremely controversial. A lot of people didn't like that gentleman that you're talking about. Whether you like him or didn't like him, things happen. But he knew nothing about it, and we can leave it at that. You don't have to embarrass our guest by asking a question like that.
It's just you asked, Mr. President.
Please, go ahead.
Foods. So listen, if you can have this honest conversation about Epstein now, let's just go ahead with this lame duck president and be honest about everything that the American people care about. They care about affordability.
How's he a lame duck?
They care about the fact that literally people are starving in this country because we have 42 million people, and I don't remember any one of you during that almost 2-month break deciding to go on faux news or any other news outlet and say, you know what, it is wrong to have 42 million people that are relying on $6 a day to eat, and we have the money because somehow our president was able to find under the couch cushion, the one that JD wasn't sitting on, under the couch cushion, he was able to find 40.
Is he just a lame duck because that's not what a lame duck is. A lame duck is the period after you lose or after the election happens to where, you know, you're going to be out of the Oval Office. You're out of the White House. That's not what a lame duck is just because he can't run again. It's a specific period.
How much did he find to send to Argentina? 40, there we go. 40 billion to send to Argentina. But those emergency funds, he couldn't find them emergency funds so that Americans could eat. So listen, if y'all are gonna be honest and talk about Epstein right now, let's be honest about everything that is causing y'all to lose real bad. Did y'all see the election results on November 4th? It didn't go very well. So let's just start having honest conversations.
But why is she trying to skirt the Epstein stuff? I thought this would be right up the Democrats' alley.
So that hopefully some of y'all in some of these tight seats, maybe y'all can get reelected and we can just work together.
Ms. Crockett.
Would the gentlelady yield? Who, what, both of y'all want? Y'all want some?
Dude, Congress is just, it's just a joke. I don't know, fucking, like watching these clips from Congress is... JD needs to start suing people and making up the couch thing. No, just play into it. Just play into it. That's the easiest way to handle it. That would be really weak if he did that. That's like the Alexis Wilkins thing.
Over to the Oval Office for the traditional bilateral, taking questions from reporters. We anticipate both leaders will take questions. We will cover that live as it's coming up. This visit is clicking along pretty quickly now with some unexpected stops along the way, but the Oval Office is...
So he's showing off the auto pen picture.
It's just a few steps away from where they are now. So we may hold for just a second while they walk through the door here. Let's talk about just briefly what this means. It is a reflection.
The couch sex thing is just so lame at this point. Yeah, I mean, it is kind of surprising that it stuck. I think it's just like, I guess that's the Democrats like meme stuff or whatever, but I don't know.
As you heard, U.S. Ambassador to the UN joined me moments ago saying, Ambassador Walsh said, this is kind of what the president got in the Middle East with now friends in the Middle East. And so with the hope of perhaps Saudi Arabia joining the Abraham Accords and becoming part of a greater solution, a vision that President Trump has had since his first term, or during his first term, continuing on to now, is this welcome. This spending of time, these...
What car do you drive? Chevy. I don't want to get a Tesla, man. I don't want to get an electric car.
Is political exercise. Again, I'm just going to leave you with this question. You should go ask them all. If you were so concerned about the Epstein files and protecting the victims, why didn't you do a darn thing about it for the 4 years of the Biden administration? All this stuff was sitting in a warehouse and nobody said a word about it. They didn't care. Now they're doing it. We all know why. Because they're trying to attack President Trump. That's it. Thank you. Thank you. It's political exercise.
Do you think LSU can beat Oklahoma? Probably not. I mean, I don't think Oklahoma's that great, but LSU is kind of, LSU is starting their backup quarterback now. They have like a puncher's chance. I don't think Oklahoma's that great, but
Morning to you, Dana. There is quite a scene building up outside the House steps. You can see behind me a couple of protesters out here calling for the release of the Epstein files, and they are waiting for this press conference to start with Thomas Massie, the Republican from Kentucky, and Ro Khanna, the progressive from California. Those two have been leading the charge to release the Epstein files. They'll be morning.
The full self-driving is insane. You're missing out. Your car drove you from Phoenix to Roswell today, and you didn't do shit. How fast how fast does it go? Let's say it's a 55 mile per hour speed limit. Does it go like 55 exactly, or does it go 60? I don't know if I would trust it, honestly. I mean, it's kind of, I guess it's just like in a plane or something. You're not the pilot of a plane, so you'd probably have to get used to it. But maybe over time you get used to it. But do you sit in the driver's seat? Wait till they try and ban you from manually driving. Yeah, I think that's a ways away, though. It doesn't really seem like the electric. It seems like the electric has kind of gone linear in terms of the car ownership. I mean, maybe at some point, yeah, but they want to eliminate accidents. But it seems like that's a bit of ways away from them doing that. Best player in college football outside of Ryan Williams and Jeremiah Smith. Probably Jeremiah Love. Quick rundown of your thoughts on the Epstein stuff. I really don't think anything has changed. It seems like it could be dragged on even further. We'll have to see if it ends up getting released. Maybe they're saying there's investigations ongoing, so they can't release it. I don't know. Hopefully they release something. I do think people are going to be dissatisfied with whatever that gets released because it's going to be a bunch of redacted stuff. And I think the files in general are probably a mess. It's like a treasure trove of names, but you don't really know if the names are connected. And probably a lot of people that didn't go to the island but are in the files in some way. And I don't know how big the files are either. So it's just... They're probably wide ranging in terms of. It has profiles you can select. They have their own speed profiles. Yeah, I mean, yeah, but would they even let you do that? Like, would they let you do like 60 and a 55? I mean, there's no way you get pulled over for that. I'm just wondering, like, do they? Because it would be kind of annoying if it was a stickler for like going 55 and a 55 or 30 and a 30, just because you would think that it would be because it's a fucking, it's an AI, it's an automated system, so why would it not go the exact speed limit? Because that's probably what it would be programmed to do. There were errors in the legislation that just got passed, so that oh my goodness.
One of the most destructive things to MAGA is watching the man that we supported early on, 3 elections, for people that stood hours, slept in their cars to go to rallies, have fought for truth and transparency and to hold what we consider a corrupt government accountable. Watching this actually turn into a fight has ripped MAGA apart. And the only thing that will speak to the powerful, courageous women behind me is when action is actually taken to release these files, and the American people won't tolerate any other bullshit. That's where we are today. Thank you. One of the most destructive things to MAGA.
You could put it on chill mode and it would go slightly over, and then sloth mode and it would goes the speed limit. Yeah, she needs a booster seat or something. That's not a great visual when you're that low to the mic. What will happen if the Texas? It's gonna get appealed. They're gonna win on appeal. The map will stay in place. Yeah, she works for the cartels. That's why she says it's not going to happen. But you would love cooperation from Mexico. There's like a freaking riot in Mexico over Sheinbaum herself, like her leadership. They don't like her. The moment MTG spoke against Visa import foreign. No. Honestly, the weird thing with MTG is she spoke up in support of that. She said we needed the temporary migrants. I don't know. I don't really know what her views are exactly, because that's one of the things where people were, in a disagreement, and that would be seen as more liberal. Because she said, well, Americans won't do these jobs, so we need people to do them for us. So she did that whole shtick. I mean, that's kind of what Trump was saying with the farmers, and a lot of them were angry because they hire illegals, and then the illegals get deported, and then they have to pay Americans higher wages. So Mexican Gen Z has had enough of cartels killing their country. Well, that would be nice if that were true. I mean, that would be interesting if they actually did have a serious uprising there over the corruptness of their country. But, maybe they do something and then that enables Trump to do something and they work together. I don't know. But I see a lot of Mexican Americans, they like Sheinbaum, and actual Mexicans that live in Mexico don't like her. So I don't know. I don't know what the exact approval rating of her is. I think it's very low, but oh man, that was loud. Looks like it's raining in DC. You heard the Muslim epic city. You heard the Muslim epic city that was supposed to be built in North Texas. Governor Abbott just put a stop to it. Well, that was very bad. It's just a desecration of the United States to see stuff like that, and developmental projects from the immigrant communities. They all immigrate to the same area, and then they get big enough to where they're like, well, we actually want to build a settlement. We want to build a settlement in the city, or we want to create our own city. And so I just think it's been it's not really fixable at this point. I mean, there's just they swarm the big cities, and I mean, it's legal immigration in most cases too. Mexico and America are combined. No, they're very much not combined, and they should not combine either. We shouldn't be taking over Mexico. But they're definitely their own distinct countries. I mean, we get spillover immigration. Those damn colonizers. Yeah, 99% of the United States was uninhabited territory when Europeans came. But yeah, it's the same thing, I'm sure. Did you see Elijah Schaffer is leaving the country? Yeah, that situation's a soap opera in and of itself. I don't know what that dude. He goes to fucking El Salvador and stuff. I don't know. It's a weird situation. But I don't agree with the lawsuit. I mean, I don't know about him personally, but the lawsuit seems, from what I see, you shouldn't sue people for that. People can have their opinions. They say it's defamation. She's not even going to win that defamation lawsuit. I think it's a fishing expedition to try and get money. Get money out of them in legal funds. You really should go to your local Tesla distribution center and drive. I don't even know where there is a Tesla near me. It would probably be like 50 minutes away, like a Tesla dealership. No, maybe like 30 minutes. Because I see a lot of Teslas around me. I guess you could just order them now, right? You can just order them to your house. Teslas, like, that's how crazy it is with car. I mean, that's kind of like what it is with everything now, I guess. Yeah, I'm not a fan of the charging. I'm not a fan of charging the Teslas because the thing is, it takes like an hour to charge them, doesn't it? Because originally I thought it was like 10 minutes or whatever. It's a lot easier to fill up. I guess the charge. Well, I don't even know how long the charge lasts. I guess it depends how much you drive it.
At Taylor Langley 900 tip $5 through Super Chat. Crazy Trump says the border is shut down and no drugs are coming via boat anymore, but he wants to go to war Venezuela. More pointless deaths over oil.
Yeah. Well, I think it would be better if we had the regime, that was favorable to the West, because right now that regime is not favorable to us. And it is it's like a sphere of influence type thing. And so I think Trump is trying to just get a more favorable regime with the amount of oil reserves that they have. But it's definitely if you don't like intervening with other countries, if you don't have to, you're not going to approve of something like that, what Trump's doing. It's an aggressive thing that he's doing for sure. But it's a calculated move in the sense that we would like a pro-Western regime for the country that has the most oil reserves out of anyone. And I know it's like neoconism when you talk about oil, but that's kind of what it is. You drove, dude. You're like trying to sell me on a Tesla. Now I understand. I think the problem with Teslas is for a sedan, it's a very big vehicle. Like their sedans are large vehicles. I always see and they're just big for a sedan size. It's a big vehicle. I mean, Teslas are nice, sure. I never been in a Tesla. I never driven one. I don't really. Spend money on that, but. Venezuela used to be an economic powerhouse. Well, I can believe it with the amount of oil that they have.
If your tariffs make prices go up...
Excuse me, we haven't asked you to speak yet, please. Right?
Whoa. Caitlin Collins, my colleagues in the White House, press corps, do a great job. She's trying to stand up for the ABC lady, I think. JD Vance with Ronaldo. How dare Venezuela wants to keep their own oil? Well, they're not utilizing it well at all because of their socialist regime. It would actually be better if they had a regime change. And it would be more so a trade with us, and we would have a better relationship. And we're not trying to steal all their oil, but it would be a better relationship to have more trade with, countries like the United States. Based on their location, it makes sense. And their way they handle their oil is very inefficient because of their regime. Did we sell them the F-35s. You see a lot of people not happy about that. Yeah, I think I saw that. I think we did some type of deal with them.
If you are another country in the world, what do you look to the U.S. for? What are the sources of American power? And that's what we saw on display here today. First, there's the military. So Saudis are going to be buying F-35s, coveted by everyone around the world, proof that they are a valuable ally. Two, our great economy and the reserve currency status of the dollar. So they are willing to put in $1 trillion of investment into their portfolio that they already have here. The U.S. is the premier destination in the world. And then three, our technology and innovation economy. Again, they want to invest in that. They want to buy our chips. We are going to partner them with some of the U.S. biggest tech companies. And then there's also a Saudi startup that will be getting a smaller supply of chips that can be built on. If you are another country in the world.
Your take, stocks are embarking on a long-awaited 20-year retreat after decades of bull run. AI disappointments and costs will lead the way down along with dead jobs market. Yeah, I find that hard to believe, honestly. I mean, I think maybe there'll be some type of retracement at some point because they've done nothing but go up outside of like crazy circumstances, but
So we know that the intentional attacks that are coming from the Trump administration and the extreme right in this country has very much been what I call it's an attempt to relitigate the Civil War.
I mean, what is going on here? Like, what is the surgery to remove fat from your cheeks?
Right. They have not accepted the results that the North actually won. Right. Because if you look at all of the attacks, it's not just black cities. He's going after education, housing, transportation, good paying jobs, and healthcare. Those are literally the 5 demands of descendants of slaves post Civil War. So it's evident that they are not, committed to actually realizing the full dream of what this country can offer. So we know that the intention.
I mean, what is he insinuating? He wants to bring them back to slavery?
And the announcement really follows the plan that President Trump has had since day one, and that is returning education to the states. He fully believes, as do I, the best education is that's closest to the child and not run from a bureaucracy in Washington, D.C. So the announcement that we made this afternoon was what we are doing to take certain programs that are now part of the Department of Education and what we call signing.
Man, what an ugly building that is. Wow. Many retail companies' earning report for Q3 coming out this week. Yeah, I don't even know what that argument was, comparing it to like slavery because he's taking away it's just like it's such a forced, pathetic comparison. Like it's not gonna work with anyone either, and it's just like hysterical bullshit. Yeah, I'd go bet on this. Actually, they probably will shake hands tonight if they're at that dinner together. $17,000 in volume. Courts consider Apple a monopoly. Antitrust. Who was the one person who voted against releasing the files? I saw it was some dude. I don't remember his name. But yeah, it was pretty funny. He was singled out. It was like 437 verse 1. Apple is only a monopoly because it's socially unacceptable. I wonder how that works. That they're a monopoly, you know, a monopoly in terms of what? The fact that everyone has an iPhone? I mean, are you not allowed to create another you know, is YouTube a monopoly in terms of like video sharing? But I don't know what the legal argument is, but it does seem kind of like there could be other phone companies or I've never had an Android, but I have nothing against people that have Androids. I mean, if I got an Android, I'm sure it would be fine. But the problem with it is you know, I have the iCloud thing paired, and I have to, you know, when I do videos, I move photos via the cloud onto my computer and stuff, and so it just makes it easier because I have an i. I actually probably need a laptop. Is I think would be best for me because I've never had a laptop, but it definitely is something I might end up getting. I just have two desktop computers. Monopolies are measured by market share. Well, I mean, does Android not have that much of a market? iMessage. Yeah, iMessage is, you know, you want to be paired with the other person if you both have iPhones. X was down because of whatever the Cloudflare, you know, wasn't working. Betting on the NBA games. Yeah, the NBA is just it's trash, man. It's a joke. They don't play defense. The scores are, you know, 150 to 120 every night. Not trying to sell you on a Tesla or anything, just trying to spread the word on tech. Yeah, no, I mean, no, that's fine, man. I appreciate it. That's you had some good contributions. And I'm sure you know Teslas are nice vehicles. They're by far the best electric vehicles. They've got a monopoly, but they well deserved. Now I actually don't know if they have a monopoly or not, but I know most you know these other car companies try and get into electric and it doesn't go well normally. Maybe get a laptop on Black Friday. Yeah, I'd have to see. I'd have to see how much off everything is. But it's all done through online sales now, Black Friday, it's basically just go on Amazon now. A lot of people don't go out anymore. Has Vivek had any pushback on H-1Bs on his campaign trail? Probably. I mean, I don't know. I don't really follow his campaign too much. I think a lot of it is because it's so early. There's really not a lot of Vivek clips that are really permeating because people just don't care about like a 2026 governor's race at this point. Like, obviously that'll be something huge probably during the summer into the fall. But like right now, I don't think anyone really, because he goes out and he campaigns, and he's been campaigning for months. Ramaswamy in Ohio. He was actually within, I think, maybe like 7 months ago, I think he was in my city campaigning. And, he's a workaholic in terms of doing that. He campaigns everywhere. But I don't know. I don't think it's a great fit for Ohio. I don't think Amy Acton is any good either. I think she's terrible. And she is just not impressive at all as a politician. She seems like someone that's, I don't know. I don't know why people, but I mean, I guess, Ramaswamy has these like, there's a lot of middle class people in Ohio that are just, he does have like aggressive policies, even in terms of like, even in terms of, and it's just very aggressive. It could be just divisive to like normal people who are just like middle of the road, maybe slightly right wing or slightly left wing. And Vivek wants to be president so bad. I think a lot of people that run for governor probably want to be president at some point, but he's got to know he's never going to be president. Elect a foreigner, you'll get what you deserve. Yeah, I think that's a little bit overblown in the sense with Ramaswamy. Ramaswamy doesn't really control immigration policy in the United States on whether or not they can give out more H-1Bs. I mean, he did say a few things about like making Ohio like Silicon Valley, which is not a smart thing to say for Ohioans, but I mean, what is he going to bring in more H-1B Indians into Ohio? He doesn't. You can't really control that policy. That's not what the governor does. You ever stand in line for anything on Black Friday? Yeah, when I was younger, we went to one time we went out on Black Friday. It was a total mess. It's a total waste of time. Everything was, I mean, now it's probably not as crowded, but probably like 2013, like I think 2012 maybe. We went out when I was younger, and we went to my mall. The mall is very busy. The traffic was insane. Even getting up there at like midnight or 11 o'clock at night when you go up there. And I mean, there is like there's an aspect to it that probably doesn't exist anymore, kind of like the midnight releases of Call of Duty, because it's all online. It's like all the shopping is online now, so. But it's not, you go in and it's just like, you can't really move. There's so many people everywhere. I mean, are the deals really this good to where we got to be up at like 2 a.m. being packed in like sardines? You go out into like the main concourse, you can't go anywhere. I remember being in the main concourse, and it was just like we were like inching forward because there were so many people, and it's like, you could fit 20 people wide in this concourse, and because of just how busy it was, I guess. You got a TV? Yeah, TVs are actually relatively cheap. The people make jokes about TVs and how they haven't really gone up in price. Like, you get a really nice flat screen TV, probably like $600. I mean, I guess if you get smart TVs, that's when they're like 1,200 to 2,000, but you camped out in front of Best Buy one time to save $200. Now you wouldn't wait 5 hours for $200. Yeah, people camp out. They get the first spot. They get the first spot in line. But yeah, now it's kind of irrelevant with Amazon and everything, and kind of evolves over time. When's the last time you camped out for something? I never camped out for a COD. No, I never camped out for anything. I mean, I went camping before, but I never camped out for a game. Two TVs, two Xboxes. Two Xboxes, that's kind of an overkill. One was free. Am I a camper? Not recently, no. When I was younger, me and my family went camping quite a bit. Not much anymore. Took you 2 years. Finally got a PS5. Dude, the PS5 stuff was insane. Remember the issues they had in, what was it, 2020 during the pandemic? They had the supply lot chain issues. They couldn't get any PS5s. They would be resold for like triple, quadruple the markup. They would mark up. Trump glazing Ronaldo. He probably shook his hand. That Kelce bet probably hit. $3DS. Yeah, I only had the Nintendo DS, the original one, when I was younger. The Nintendo DS, they probably sold so many of those, man. That was the thing to have, the Nintendo DS. And the iPod Touch. You know, the iPod Touch got completely phased out because parents just got the kid, you'd get the kids the iPod Touch, they wouldn't be, it's not really a phone. It's like the in-between. But now they just get them phones, they get them iPhones. Americans having to act like they care about soccer. Yeah, they actually, that is how it's going to be in 2026. People are going to have to, it's going to be a lot. I mean, there are people that care about it. The World Cup is a big thing, but you missed the iPod Nano. Yeah, but what really role does that serve? I mean, I guess it is smaller. I guess so you don't have to run with your phone or whatever. They just got that thing. But now they probably have other stuff to where you can run and be away from your phone and it'll still work. What did I miss on Trump and Musk? Are they gay? Are they? No, they're not gay. Are they cool now? Um, Musk is extremely wealthy, so Trump obviously wants to have a good relationship with him. Musk is kind of just a weird dude, so he just kind of has odd moments, and he just he's an erratic person. That's the way I would describe him. But I mean, where else is Musk gonna go? Is he gonna be a liberal or something? I mean, obviously not. So it's like if he can still have access, or if he can still, be in Trump's good graces, I think even after everything that happened with Epstein and stuff like that, I still think, they can mend the fences, which is kind of what happened. Another 0.25 cut. I actually don't. Yeah, damn. Well, I didn't know this, but fuck. I don't know. Maybe. I don't know what numbers they got that signaled they shouldn't cut, but maybe higher inflation. Rumor is that DeSantis and Kiffin went on a fishing trip together. LOL. Also, Florida offering 10 years, $150 million. Dude, that's so ridiculous what these coaches get offered. Like, is Lane Kiffin really that good? I don't even know. I mean, but this is why these buyout situations happen, because they get this clownish money. 10 years, $150 million, and what? Ole Miss season's going to be ruined if he leaves? Like, how does that even work? If jabs come out and bomb, the odds of they will cut will jump a lot. The jobs report. Yeah, I was looking at the unemployment rate. It's about 4.3. I mean, it's hovering on being a problem, but it's not a problem yet. It's like, I'd say it's healthy. I don't know. I don't know about his daughters. Landry Kiffin. I saw she was dating the LSU linebacker. The other one, I don't know. He's at the dinner. Barron Trump is at the dinner, you're saying? Government hasn't released due to shutdown, so we didn't get last month's jobs report. Barron Trump, I don't think he'll speak. Lane Kiffin is the king of all douches. Oh, 100%. You could even just tell by his social media behavior. He's kind of an ass.
So that's why tonight I'm pleased to announce that we're taking our military cooperation to even greater heights by formally designating Saudi Arabia as a major non-NATO ally, which is something that is very important to them. And I'm just telling you now for the first time because I wanted to keep a little secret for tonight. I just heard him say, "Oh, that's nice." That's another point you won today. And signing a historic strategic defense agreement, which we just signed a little while ago. So congratulations. It's our great honor.
All right, I'll be right back.
Well, thank you very much, everybody. Thank you. What an honor. Well, this is a very special occasion. And it is indeed my honor to welcome to the White House a great friend and a man of leadership, vision, courage, and strength, His Royal Highness Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman of the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia. And we had a big day today, a very big day for both countries. We've gotten to know each other well over the years, and he has become a true partner for peace and prosperity for our countries and for the world and for peace in the Middle East, which was a crowning achievement for both of us. And I just want to say that Crown Prince Mohammed, we're delighted to have you with us at the White House. Very special, very, very special. This room is loaded up with the biggest leaders in the world, business, sports. You know, my son is a big fan of Ronaldo, wherever Ronaldo is here. Ronaldo. And Barron got to meet him, and I think he respects his father a little bit more now, just the fact that I introduced you. So I just want to thank you both for being here. Thank you very much. Really.
You're never in my recommended anymore? Yeah, I noticed. I wonder if Ronaldo's gonna speak. You know, that he's like this big sensation. He's like the most famous fucking athlete in the world. Jake Paul or Anthony Joshua? I don't know, man. I don't know about that stuff. I'd say Jake Paul probably wins. I don't know. No, I don't know. I know Jake Paul has lost some fights, but he always seems to, they say he fights bad opponents to prop up his record. Private transitional donations.
We're talking about the tearing up of the crime scene and everybody's wanting them to find the bullet. I mean, if the bullet hit any bone at all, there is no bullet. It's just fragmentation.
Great point.
And
that was discussed already.
And if there was no exit wound. In the autopsy though, there should be, I mean, if there was no exit wound, then there should be fragmentation of the bullet would have fragmented into who knows how many pieces.
The doctor, and again, this is not a non-disclosure violation, but the doctor came out there and told us. And then they also told chief of staff. So the bullet came in and hit the vertebra. So it came in, and then tore up everything in the wound cavity, hit the vertebra, crushed it, shattered it, turned, crushed the second one, turned, kept going down all the way. I think they said C6.
Holy shit.
Yeah, it's like, why not put that info out? Why not put it out? And then
why wouldn't they put that out?
And if do me a favor, don't make me do it. It's not my job. And so then it got to here, and you're exactly right. And then hit, I think, 6, and then fragged. And so explanation 101. What are you hiding? Yeah. It's like I'm sitting back here when people are saying we bombed him or there's a wound. I'm like, hey, if somebody would, from an official capacity, would just release that. And I don't see how that could jeopardize a fair trial for a guy. And or somebody call the doctor.
Yeah, they need to release the autopsy. I thought we were going to get the autopsy report. And so maybe they released that. But then people will just say the autopsy report is fake.
Somebody just call him. I've done a lot of death notifications where I had to tell kids that their parents were dead or their parents that their kids were dead. And I know what pain looks and sounds like. I wake up screaming sometimes, thinking of kids' faces.
Cash going after Schaefer because of his girlfriend, right? Like, that's the other insane thing. But, I mean, it is his girlfriend that's doing the lawsuit. But it's like she's utilizing, like, government authority, I feel like. I don't think that's right.
The words that came out of her mouth and how they came out when she walked in that room and saw him, you don't want to hear that. She's a victim. That's her husband. And now people without any proof are saying that she was a part of killing him. Come on, man. And then not having anything to substantiate it with. That's what makes me lose faith in people. And that we allow it. And that.
Yeah, I mean, but you got to come out with proof. I mean, that's basically it at this point. Yeah, well, they say in the bullet ricocheted in his body and then fragmented at a certain point. Probably hit few different bones. I mean, the autopsy would have the answers. Have a cabinet position, but you only get paid $100K a year, but you have to exclude taxes and benefits. A cabinet position, I mean, I don't know, man. What even is the purpose? Or would you fight a liberal YouTuber for $1 million after taxes and training? Well, I mean, maybe if it's like a weak maybe if it's somebody weak, I could maybe fight him. But I don't know about, like... Did you see Elon Musk disabled Hebrew translation on X because Israelis kept talking about genociding Muslims? No, I didn't say that. America is so stupid that we need a doctor to explain horror because America is nothing but schizo-babble content. Well, I mean, I think you have to know that there's always going to be conspiracies about pretty much any big thing that happens now because everyone's so connected to the internet. Like, you just have to know there's going to be conspiracies about everything because you can market it, it's. Itchy or sticky? Oh, probably itchy. Yeah, sticky is not fun. Coat Max, dinner table clips. Are there dinner table clips? What legislation is this for crypto, I wonder? Is Trump doing good or bad? Depends your political perspective. Whenever I drink this, I have to burp. A little dinner tunes. A little dinner romance tunes for the evening with a little candlelight dinner. A nice ambiance. My son is a big fan of Ronaldo.
This room is loaded up with the biggest leaders in the world, business, sports. You know, my son is a big fan of Ronaldo, wherever Ronaldo is here. Ronaldo. And Barron got to meet him, and I think he respects his father a little bit more now, just the fact that I introduced you. So I just want to thank you both for being here. Thank you very much. Really an honor. This room is loaded up with the...
Trump still needs to work to get the economy better. I mean, the economy, it is what it is at this point. I mean, I guess the thing that they can do is they can give out the checks. Maybe the tariffs will be rescinded a little bit. I don't know what they're going to rule on that. But then you give out the checks to people, low-income people, that helps. I mean, that also is going to hurt inflation, but it'll probably help a little bit. I don't know. I think the economic policy is kind of insane because it's like you're forcing them to make decisions based on something that's happening in a year. You really should make decisions in a macro sense, not a micro sense. But, you know, because of the midterms. Would you rather have a physically abusive mother or emotionally abusive father? It's just a strange question. I don't know. I'm not sure, Mom. Show us your paper. What do you mean? Barron Trump, the crypto mogul. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I think it's easy to fucking do crypto if you fucking can utilize your father's, likeness. So you ever smoke weed? I don't like weed. It's not really some. It's I don't. It's just I you smoked it a few times, but not in like 6 7 years. Yeah, I don't actually carry money. Everything's I rarely carry money cash with me. Gas $9. You mean $3.65? There's no way it's $9. $2.65. Damn, that is really cheap. $2. That's cheaper than it is here. All right, guys, that's gonna do it for this live stream. When's the feast? I don't think they're gonna be filming much when they the dinner. All right, guys, I'll see you.